Welcome to Ceremonial Witchcraft. I am the guy who invented this fucking podcast and this spirituality, I guess, so to speak. Corey LeBlanc or the Ceremonial Witch, whichever you choose. Doesn't matter to me. I don't know what happened, but I was biking this morning to Tim Hortons and to go to the pharmacy with my wife. And then when I came home, I noticed on YouTube I had a video that was uploaded through Spreaker. Short for Think and Grow Rich was what the acronym was for, and it was just something I titled my recordings for my last podcast. So somehow I clicked on the podcast in my pocket because my phone doesn't lock, because anytime I'm uploading a recording and my phone locks or something else touches the screen, it stops the upload, and it really stresses and pisses me out when I have to keep redoing it. So I don't have my automatic lock coming on my phone. But that comes with its own group of problems. Like if I don't physically lock it, then I can butt dial people, text people, or I guess apparently start podcasts from my pocket. So my apologies for anybody who checked that out, thought that was going to be a real video and just heard some of the middle content of an old episode. So that's my mistake. So that has prompted me to delete that and try to make a new one. Now I have a little bit of content I could put on here, which was from my last YouTube video, which is only a 20-some minute video. And it was me adding on to my other video as well. But the way it went together was pretty good. And it was to explain how magic works and, how magic works. And one way to conceive of the energy, because if you're doing magic and you're trying to manifest and alter your life and change circumstances, well, depending on how you are and how you learn, sometimes it's helpful to know how the process actually works. Because you might have a hard time believing in something if you can't really actually understand how it may work. So by understanding how it works, then it's easier for you to be able to do the process if you believe in how the outcome works out. So that was the purpose of doing that, and it's also something you can listen to be able to program your mind on how this works and that it's a possibility, and therefore you can start actually making change in your life. Now, after making that video, I just put that on my channel as my first video to come up, and it was great because then I went up to 86 subscribers. Now I'm back down to 85, but that's okay. I love everybody who subscribes, even the ones who unsubscribe and then resubscribe later. It's all gravy, baby. But yeah, once again, a big shout out to everybody who takes the time to view, comment, like, and subscribe to this channel or do all those things to my podcast as well. It's greatly appreciated. It really is one of the things I really enjoy the most. But I received a comment about that, and it was a gentleman saying I see it in a different way or more of an expansion. So that's what I want to get into, because everybody knows I go through the comments on my channel and I use them as a way to start a dialogue or start a lesson or start a teaching or whatever. Oh, that hurt. Oh, I just lost you guys, and you guys came down and smashed my foot. Sorry about that. All right, but now I'm going to get through that comment, and it's by a gentleman. Maybe I won't say his name. I'll keep it, secret, because a lot of people don't seem to like when I talk about their comments or not. But, I mean, obviously you can go my last video and see this stuff, but I won't mention the name here. So the person said, I have a different take on how it works. Well, really, just expands on yours. I like to think that by manipulating the collective subconscious through will of intention, you're narrowing down the percentage of possibility futures for yourself. That's what I think. When starting out, you should start with things that you already have a decent chance of attaining, even without using a magical practice, and then open it up to less probable outcomes. Just my opinion, though, which is great. And obviously I appreciate the comment, and whether people have the same or a different view than me, I still love comments nonetheless. And yeah, we can talk about our differences and how they actually might connect and be the same, which is something I try to do in my response. So very seldomly will you ever see someone comment on my channel and me not give a response, especially a short response. So I have a very hard time saying anything in a short period or amount of time. Anyway, so my ceremonial witchcraft's response. I like your expansion and or another way to explain it. The future you and pathways that you may have exist from your choices, thoughts, parents' thoughts, friends' thoughts, and so on. These are all possibilities, such as when you were a child, what you wanted to be, then when you got a bit older, then the teenage you, then the college you, or young adult you, then you later up until whatever age you are now. Plus your parents' expectations that when you were a child, and then when you were in your teens, and what they wanted for you. So I agree and never thought of it that way. I believe it's along the same lines though, because these ideas were given energy and created on the astral, or implant, which is the same thing, or they were implanted in your subconscious. But depending on your choices and changing what you want, they don't manifest because they weren't continually giving energy. So just stop there for a second. What I mean by that is, as a kid, you want to be an astronaut, you start putting things on, maybe you create that pathway. They're going to become an astronaut one day. And if you really stuck to that, started looking at astronomy books and learning and getting really good grades, and then you followed all the hardest classes in school, and you started sending letters to the colleges that are more prestigious for that path and all that, then maybe you create that outcome and you become that astronaut. But then as you get older, you start playing a sport, and maybe you want to become a hockey player. So you stop giving energy into the astronaut thing and you start doing the hockey thing. So that's what I'm trying to say. And then maybe your parents at the same time, like, they like the idea of you becoming an astronaut, but then when you became a hockey player, your father was like, oh, I rather that. So he gives that more energy. So his energy into that, seeing you, visualizing you as being that, is in the astral, as long as yours and everybody, there's energy growing within that idea. Anyways, this is why we can end up doing similar jobs and similar financial situations as our parents, because we saw this growing up and it programmed us. So what I mean by that is, we can think we want to become these things all we want, but then at the end of the day, when we get through school, if we haven't put enough energy into that and really focus and put our will and all our actions were aimed at becoming that, then we might just drift off our path and then get a job, and then we start playing out what we saw our parents go through, just going from job to job, struggling, paying bills, whatever the case is. The system I do in the neophyte grade, we don't manifest and only do practices that allow us to break this connection to our previous programming and thought forms during initiation. So we can begin to choose for ourselves what we want ourselves. So that is just simply saying that the things you do in the neophyte, you're meant to ground yourself, to make yourself the middle pillar, to depolarize yourself so that you don't think these things are good, these things are bad, and that any thought form you may have created at this point that are bad and or good, that you break free from, so that you can figure out what you truly want within you. I agree that when we begin, we should focus solely on one intent at a time, but I believe there's essential spiritual practices that should be done that aren't for manifestation and in the beginning, so you can find out what we truly want and might be programmed wants. So what I mean by program wants is something that you think you wanted that is really a projection from a parent or an idea that, is cool. Like your friends all thought it was cool, and so you are following on that line, but then you achieve it, and then potentially it doesn't give you that sense of, fulfillment. And that's where I write next is, I've experienced this, achieving something I thought was my purpose and part of my path, but didn't satisfy. And I realized that it was programmed idea from my childhood. But either way, whether we achieve what we think we want and it's not right, or we do exercises that allow us to figure out what we want and don't want, we reach the same end. Thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. And for the view. So that was my comment. And so the last thing I said there was simply just whether or not this is kind of my argument for someone who, whenever I talk about manifesting stuff, and Thunder Wizard would say you need to find what your soul wants, your purpose, your path, your soul desires. I think the word he uses. And I say, well, you can do that. Find out what your soul desire is and try not to, or if you start manifesting money to pay your bills, and you start thinking that there's a certain job you want, so you try to manifest that, and then you get that job. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to realize, okay, well, this isn't my soul desire, but you still need to pay those bills anyway. So manifesting that money in the process isn't really going to harm you. It's going to help you, but you're going to realize what your path is by all the mistakes. We achieve more from our failures and our losses than we do from our successes. Our successes are only achieved from the failures that led us there. So that's kind of the point I'm making, is it doesn't matter whether you figure it out before you aim yourself at it, or you try aiming yourself in all these directions to see what you want, and by process of elimination you figure out what you want. Either way, we're getting to the same end, and it really depends on the person. But anyways, once again, I want to thank the person who sent that comment in. And the reason I like to talk about the astral way just as much, if not more, than the subconscious way is because I'm not going to pretend I know anything about what's the word? Physics, that type of physics there. The fucking give me a moment here. Let me figure out what I'm going to say here. All right, quantum physics is the word I'm thinking of. So there are many theories within quantum physics. Unless you're a quantum physicist, it's really silly to really cite anything like I know quantum physics or this is quantum physics or whatever the case is. But one of the things that they know and explain and have proven is that we are kind of in two universes, two places simultaneously. Even though we can't realize it, we can't comprehend that because it's not linear, and we think in linear ways, like we start here, we end here, right? We start at 0, we go to 100, and then we're done. Whereas there's like two yous, whether that's the subconscious version of you where you're sleeping is somewhere else off, or it's something more like the astral plane. That how I explain how magic works is one of the main things I like to explain how magic works is there's this astral plane where everything that you have in your realm right now, this physical realm, is also in that astral realm. So whatever plays out in the astral realm plays out down here, and through adding energy with symbolic representations. So you have a candle, and on that candle you put your intention in that candle that you want to make a lot of money. Well, through that you can make that manifest on that astral plane, and by making that manifest on the astral plane, it filters down here. And the reason why I bring up the quantum physics is simply to just state that I don't know much about it, but they do have theories and conclusions that they've proven that we are simultaneously in two realms, in two places at one time. So the reason I bring that up once again is just simply to give a little more credence and a little more accuracy to my theory of the astral plane, which has been a theory that's been around a lot longer than most people would like to admit. Now, it hasn't been quantified or proven by physics or by science like it has been recently, but nonetheless, witches and people of magical practitioners of the past have known this and have explained it this way. And now this has changed in our new age, has been changed into the subconscious mind. And then there's all these other theories about parallel universes and all these possibilities. And I think they're all just derived from the same concept, just slightly expanded differently depending on the person who's explaining it, depending on their view of the world and how their experiences have been and how they've, what they've done in their life, basically, so to speak. Meaning, like, the person who sent me the comment thinks that he's got all these possibilities, and this is just my interpretation of what he wrote. I could be completely off, and if I am, I hope he corrects me or someone else does. But there's all these possibilities for him in the astral, and he can pick which one of those play out, or wherever in the subconscious mind, in the collective subconscious, as he puts it. Those are all there. They're all possibilities for him to play out. Whichever one he wants to, he can actively do something that will give energy to one of those circumstances to play out. And that's why he says he can first do the things that he already has a good full hold on, a good experience with, knows that, is very much possible. And then from there, expand out by going the path of the ways that aren't so easily, maybe using magic or whatnot, which is a great theory. And to me, the only thing I was trying to prove in my comment is I like that idea, and I think it's possible, and I think it's the same thing I'm trying to explain, except what I'm trying to explain is how those ideas got there in the first place, how all those potentials were put into the astral for him. And so what I mean by that is all those ideas were put in the astral through him, his parents, whoever gave energy, visualization, and emotion into the ideas of what this person may or may not be when they're older, if that's the example we're still using. and if they're going to be healthy, and if they're going to be rich, if they're going to be poor, if they're going to be a ladies' man, if they're going to be fat, they're going to be ugly, whatever the case is, whatever was given the most energy has created up there, and all these possibilities are still up there, but the ones that have the most energy are the ones currently playing out, meaning by your words, by your actions, by what you reject, banish, deny, by what your self-talk plays on in the back of your mind all day long. By controlling those small things, you can pick throughout those choices. So what happens is when we're on an autopilot and we're slowly going through our life over and over, doing the same things, going to work, coming back, going to work, coming back, we're putting energy into the thought that we're going to be doing this the rest. But if one day you say, no, I reject it, I'm going to be at this job for the rest of my life, and I accept that I'm going to find a better job that fulfills me on an emotional level, physical level, blah, 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 blah. And then you start saying that every day as an affirmation. Then you start creating energy into either one of the other paths that maybe you've already created, or a new path. And what I was trying to say about the neophyte and my system is that all those other thought forms that were created up there, because some of them might be great, might be the ones you want, but some of them might be created by your parents that have a type of hold on you. Well, by doing the practice, by doing the archangel invocation and the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which has nothing to do with anything evil for any skeptics out there, it literally is a ritual that helps you break free from other people's thought forms, thought processes, ideas, whatever the case is. And it gives you the ability to choose for yourself what you want yourself, and then make your own energetic destinies up there in the subconscious, in the astral, whatever you want to call it. You can create your own and not go by the ones that were already created for you, is what I was trying to say with that comment. Is that me and the person who wrote the comment have the same idea, except he's going by that those are already there created. Who knows, maybe he thinks they're by a god or goddess or somebody else. But in my experience, those things are created by us and the people we surround ourselves with. All right, sorry about that. My wife came in just to bring some laundry, so I had to take a little break, step away. But sometimes it's okay, you get some more thoughts. But anyway, so yeah, before I ended, I was trying to explain my explanation to my comment that when I expanded on his comment. So, like I was just saying, I think we have the same idea. So, whether you're talking about these multiple realities that are all in possibility, and whichever one you focus on you bring into being, into reality, um, whether that's the concept or we're simply, because right now you have a reality that's up there that's playing out in that astral. And like I said, I just talked about quantum physics real fast just because they like to say, or it's like I said, it's a working theory that we're in two places at once technically. Well, I like to use that as the explanation for the astral plane, and how if you create enough energy into an idea that you want to play out and manifest within your life, if you create that on the astral plane, well then nature will filter and make that happen here within this realm. And that astral plane is kind of like this elusive place that's always operating at the same time as this one. And it's like a safeguard. It's like all the ideas that everything, all the magic has to be filtered through the moon. Well, the moon is your subconscious mind. The moon is the astral plane on the model of the tree of life. So it all kind of connects and makes sense. But so, like I said, the only difference in what he was saying and what I was saying, I think, is simply that he is not going as far as I am. He's saying that there's all these potential possibilities that you can be, or what you want to play out in your life. They're already created up there. You have the conscious ability to choose with your will, or whether it's just through your actions here in the physical, or using symbolic representations, aka magic. What I'm saying is we've created those. Those are already there, and we still have the ability to create new ones and make new ones. So we're really talking about the same thing here. And all that's to say is this is how we consciously choose. So once again, throughout your day-to-day, whenever you're going through your day-to-day life, all the little thoughts going on in the background of your head, these are the things that are reinforcing and creating these outcomes that are going to play out for you. This is the energy that's putting into the steps that are already the reality that's already being manifested within your life right now is going by the little things you do, the little things you say every day, the little thoughts you have. All the actions you take throughout your day are confirming what stays in the astral and is playing out and what isn't playing out in the astral. Meaning, if you continuously think you're always going to be poor, you're always going to be broke, you're never going to be pretty, you're never going to lose weight, well, you're going to keep giving energy to the you on the astral plane who never loses weight. But if you're able to change that, whether it's through affirmations, through symbolic ritual, like putting on a candle that you are going to manifest something, and then you put enough energy into that, and then you create it on the astral, then it will create itself down here after. So that's the only thing I was trying to get at. Like, for example, all this episode was just to, because I put it on an episode today by accident on Spreaker, so I felt like I should actually put a real episode out. So all this is to do is just to explain further on how magic works, how these multiple realities and possibilities and timelines, how they exist and what they are. And in my estimation, it's the realities that were created by us, our parents, our friends, all the thoughts that we gave emotion and form to. Basically, we create thought forms. And if you want to find a way out of this, if you want to stop that process and you want to be able to do this on your own, then one of the best ways is doing ceremonial magic, or a type of witchcraft that gives you the ability to consciously pick what you want to manifest in your life. And one of the best ways to do that, obviously, is, like I've been saying, if you watch stuff that prove magic's correct, that magic works, rather, that magic is real, that you are someone who can consciously take control of their life. If you get that programming in your mind, then you'll be able to start doing this process. But there's been these long-standing traditions and things like ceremonial magic that directly address how to change this. And we could speculate on how we think it works all day long, but the people who created these had a really good understanding on how this stuff works, and they created these rituals and these exercises exactly for that purpose, for us to be able to take a type of conscious control. Now, whenever you're doing your symbolic representations, you're best to be kind of in between the worlds, between the conscious and the subconscious, that line right between when you're in trance, so it's easier for you to be on the astral or change the astral or to get stuff into your subconscious mind. That's why reading an affirmation right when you wake up a bunch of times, or right before you go to bed a bunch of times, that's right where you're between those two worlds, between the subconscious and the unconscious, between the astral and the physical. So all these things are very much connected, and it's a good way to look at it. So that was my expansion of that guy's question, comment, and once again, I really appreciate that comment. And now I'm just going to play the video that I created that generated that comment, and so you guys can hear it for yourselves. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you have yourselves a great fucking day.
Alright, what's going on? So, I made a video 2 days ago and did the podcast today. It was about sleep paralysis, facing your fears, and the different types of transformation / bits of enlightenment that you can get from there, and the wisdom that comes from going and doing the things that are most uncomfortable to you. But within that video, right before the end, I got into both how magic works, a little bit on how to do magic, what to do after magic, and an explanation of two of the most popular ways that people conceptualize how to manifest reality, how to manifest things in reality, both by putting suggestions into your subconscious mind and when you, there's the old witchcraft way is there's an astral realm, and everything in that astral realm, everything that's in that astral realm has to match down here. So what the witch does is put enough energy into something, a talisman, a sigil, a doll, whatever, a candle, doesn't matter, whatever type of magic you're doing. And by doing that, we put enough energy in the astral and the intention of the thing that we're trying to manifest or banish. And then that gets created in our life on that astral realm. And then whatever's there has to come down and manifest down here. Or the more traditional way of whatever you can get in your subconscious mind through repetition, through symbolism, will manifest. So I give an explanation of a lot of those things, and it's just very short, 5 to 7 minutes. So, and there's a couple corrections I just want to make, but if I can, I want to put this as the opening video on my YouTube page, and in case people don't watch my videos to the end, well, at least they can get this good information, because normally my videos start off slow with a bunch of blah, 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 and eventually I get to where I want to go, and I kind of just let my mind guide me where I'm going. So I'm going to play that right now for you, and chime in where I have to do my corrections. So this is how magic works, a little bit on how to do magic, and how, like, the actual energy that we're creating and putting into whatever we're trying to do, how it gets sent out, or how it impresses in on the subconscious mind, and how it will come back to you, and the do's and the don'ts. So, yeah, here we go. Law of correspondence, thank you. Okay, my head just told me that. The law of correspondence. But anyways, that'll help you connect to all those ways of doing magic, how they're all the same. But come back to you, and the do's and the don'ts. So, yeah, here we go. The law of correspondence, thank you. Okay, my head just told me that. The law of correspondence. But anyways, that'll help you connect to all those ways of doing magic, how they're all the same. But regardless of that, what I'm trying to say here is, in this book, it's going to tell you how to achieve successful getting money, and the very various ways. So he does various ways, and the ones that whenever he speaks about putting emotion into the visualization of you being grateful for having the money, it literally says that. Like, it's crazy. This is a book about how to get rich, but it's a fucking magical grimoire almost. But and it gives you the proof throughout the book of all these successful people. So you're getting the faith, and by using this book, reading this book, listening to it, he talks about how faith is important. How if you use your subconscious mind correctly, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that what you're trying to manifest is going to manifest. If you can get your mind, if you believe that, truly believe that, then your subconscious will manifest it. That's where the problem lies for most people, is they can't seem to believe that it's going to work. And that's why I say to watch testimonials, watch people that are successful, that have successfully done this. The more you do that through repetition and just watching them, that's going to take you some time. It's not always a necessary step, but it's definitely something you should be doing anyways, because you might be one of those lucky people that can do it fast, or you might be one of those people that are going to have to build that subconscious programming. That magic is real, and you can manifest, because we're doing it no matter what. But you don't have the programming in your mind yet that you can consciously control it, even though by repeatedly doing stuff and repeatedly I've seen stuff when you were a kid and repeatedly being told stuff, you've been programmed, and that's what you're manifesting right now. But the programming that you need, and the difference between a magical practitioner and just everybody else is we're all doing it already. The difference is the fact that we know that we can consciously put suggestions in, or consciously give energy to something on the astral, or put suggestions in our subconscious mind, and be able to manipulate that part of our reality maker and get it to manifest. That's the difference. And by getting that in your mind, by watching stuff like I have fucking for years now, like 5 years of watching the same content of Raider Xavier, of Birch, Thunder Wizard recently too, because he talks about manifesting stuff. So regardless of his true intention of what he's trying to do, he does have so much, he does in so many words actually say that magic. days ago and did the podcast today. It was about sleep paralysis, facing your fears, and the different types of transformation / bits of enlightenment that you can get from there, and the wisdom that comes from going and doing the things that are most uncomfortable to you. But within that video, right before the end, I got into both how magic works, a little bit on how to do magic, what to do after magic, and an explanation of two of the most popular ways that people conceptualize how to manifest reality, how to manifest things in reality, both by putting suggestions into your subconscious mind and there's the old witchcraft way is there's an astral realm, and everything in that astral realm, everything that's in that astral realm has to match down here. So what the witch does is put enough energy into something, a talisman, a sigil, a doll, whatever, a candle, doesn't matter, whatever type of magic you're doing. And by doing that, we put enough energy in the astral and the intention of the thing that we're trying to manifest or banish. And then that gets created in our life on that astral realm. And then whatever's there has to come down and manifest down here. Or the more traditional way of whatever you can get in your subconscious mind through repetition, through symbolism,